Welcome to Womenfolk Revival, where we are deeply rooted and wildly intentional. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Meara.
And Meara, today we're going to discuss what this podcast is, what our intentions are for it, um, what the end game is, what our goal is.
We sure are.
So for me personally,
We're just, I'm just spontaneous like that. What can I tell you?
so for me personally, I just want to help other women. I want to help people get to a natural way of life, a life that is closer to what our Creator intended for us, to be a part of this earth that we came from, um, to kind of unlearn everything that society has taught us,
Mm-hmm.
and to relearn a natural and harmonious way of living.
Right. Well, that's all you have to say. Those are
Well,
your goals, Maggie.
those are my goals. What are your goals, Mira?
Those are my goals. My goals are they kind of align with, well, no, they don't kind of align. They actually really align with what you're wanting to do. My goals are to connect more with the earth and, as you said, with our Creator. But my main focus currently in the position that I'm in my life is to figure out who I am again. Society has completely tore me away from who I am. And
Mm-hmm.
in high school, I went through so much and I actually found who I was. I began meditating. I began listening to these different frequencies that just kind of, and we'll get into that later as well. But, I was just listening to different types of music that was just calming and soothing. And I felt really grounded in where I was. I still didn't know who I was because I was a teenager. But, looking back, it's unbelievable to me because I feel like I was more grounded then than I am now. Of course, who wouldn't be having 7 kids grounded more when they're, in high school than where they are now? But my goal is to help women refind and reconnect with themselves internally so that then they are able to do what you're wanting to do is, find that peace within themselves, to connect to the Creator, to connect with the land, to be outside more, um, and figure out that self-identity. That's
Mm-hmm.
huge to me. That's really
Well,
big.
yeah, and it's a big part of having holistic health, mental health. Um, it's a huge impact on our physical health.
Hmm.
So to have that and to find that joy in life when, there's just so much crazy, um, I mean, it's everything.
It is, and I believe once you line those up, that everything will just start to fall into place, you know, like, cooking maybe. I know you had a hard time cooking in the beginning and it was really intimidating
Did.
to you, and to me, I was just like, "What are you talking about? Cooking is not intimidating. That's my comfort zone." So, of course, it's gonna look different from you than it is from me, and, likewise with everyone else. I have a friend who, we went to dinner, and we were discussing how to get things done and how to find that, that inner peace. And she was telling me that she doesn't even cook. She never cooks, not even one egg. That she orders everything before she comes home after, she gets off work. And her boyfriend doesn't cook either. And I'm like, so then what do you do? Just eat out all the time? And she said that it scares her, that it intimidates her. And I
Mhm.
never would have thought that just cooking even one egg would be so intimidating for somebody, but it is. We're all at different walks of life. So,
Yeah.
to be able
Yeah,
to
for me, that was There was a huge thing, and there's still even times when I feel as though I just don't even know food. I just don't understand food.
Mhm.
Um, but, gardening and canning and making, even just pickling, you really start to understand, the aspects of vegetables and plants. And then you start seeing how they work all together, and then you incorporate herbs, but there's so much to know.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
that's
until
intimidating for me.
you just gotta get in there and start doing it, you know?
I did last year with your help, which, by the way, the one that you planted ended up dying, my chamomile. I was like, "Oh, she didn't
Oh,
plant that deep enough." I was kinda disappointed. But everything else turned out fine except for my tomatoes.
our
It's very
garden was
intimidating.
our garden was terrible last year.
Yeah,
Just, this weather was nuts.
it was.
We had a lot of things fail. We had a lot of pest issues. But,
Yeah.
every year it gets better and it gets easier. You learn
Mhm.
more. Um, you know, the the best thing you can do is just to start out slow. I know we come from this society where we want everything right away. We want it all.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
you think about homesteading, it's so overwhelming. You need gardens, you need animals, you need,
Cans of
you
food.
know, yeah. And it becomes this whole huge, overwhelming world. And then people stop doing it and they go back
Mhm.
to relying on society. They're relying on grocery stores. And,
Well,
that's
because that's
okay.
comfort.
It's
I
comfort.
mean, yeah, it's okay, but if you're wanting to change, and the whole point of our existence, this Womenfolk Revival, is also to change and go back to our roots. So this is not
Mhm.
just some like typical fad diet. Oh, I'm going to change this and then this is going to happen. Then I can go back to being who I'm used to being. No, well, most majority of us listening here are our 40s. You can't just do the same thing you were doing years ago and then lose all that weight like I did. Oh man, I miss those days. But it's a lifestyle change. This is going
Mhm.
to take a long time, and that's why we're wanting to do this, together and create this community of people. So, not only are we reaching out to them and helping them, but we also get feedback from them as well. Because that's how we learn. It takes a
Mhm.
village. We need
It
a
does.
village. Nobody
Does.
has a village anymore. Nobody has the time for a village, which is funny to me because if you have time to doom scroll on your phone, you most definitely have time to
Time
create a
for yeah,
village for sure. So
absolutely.
we're the village. Come on in. We're waiting. Anyone's welcome. Well, you know, that's getting scratched.
And everybody will have something to learn from this, but our
For sure.
focus is women and
Women and
mothers.
mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's tough out there these days, like you said, with society.
well, and there's so much information. There's so much information flying in from every angle.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to know what to listen to, what not to listen to.
What's real?
Um, mhm. All we can do is return to our roots and return to the wild, and we will find the answers that we need. I think
Yes, I
I
believe
have
so.
found a lot.
Yeah,
And also in connection with other women, just you and I, just our friendship, and both wanting to be on this path and kind of doing it together has gotten us so much further along than we would have been on our own.
yeah, I think so. I I wouldn't know a lot of stuff that I know now if it wasn't for you. Yeah, for sure. So could you imagine having a whole community of women coming together
Mhm.
and sharing all their journey and information and knowledge and
Yep.
wisdom that they have.
It'll
Yeah,
be great.
I think so too.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to this adventure.
I am also. And we have a lot
Yeah.
that we have a lot that we wanna do. We have our
Yes.
our community page on Facebook where we can discuss things with people who join our show.
Right.
Um, and that'll be great, and, you know, in the future, we can have opportunities for us to get together in person
Yeah.
and, do things, whether it be teaching herbs or some kind
How to make
of
one egg.
how to make one egg. It is, believe me, it is real.
It
It
is.
is.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
It's so
'Cause that's
easy
how
not
gardening
not
was
to
for
cook.
me.
I grew up watching my mom cook and my grandma cook, and I would help every once in a while, but then I just never really
Thought about it.
thought about it and got into
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
we're all, even somebody like me who's kind of always been, you know, an oddball and not really partaking to things in society, I still
Mhm.
got caught up in it. I still lost my way and became very dependent on society and the system, even though I always knew that it was the wrong way. So,
Knew or felt? Because I didn't quite know yet. I didn't
oh,
understand how to live that life. I thought it was just something totally out there. I knew, I felt it in my heart that this isn't the way to be, but I didn't know how to not be that way.
I
Do you
I
get what I'm saying?
knew without knowing why I knew,
Mhm.
and that's something that I just always struggled with, and I
And I think
didn't.
that go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No.
I think that's I think that's something that a lot of our listeners will be coming in with the same thoughts of, but it's just, there's just no time or just it just doesn't make sense to start
It
doing this because it's
feels it
something
feels
totally
like there's
different.
no time, but there
Mhm.
is time. You just have to learn how to do things differently and look at time
Mhm.
differently,
Yeah.
and really think about the things that you're doing.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that we talk about, doing things with intention,
Right.
cooking with intention. Now I am, I'm altering recipes and making substitutions. I don't use baking powder when I make
Mhm.
pancakes for my children. I
Mhm.
substitute that with arrowroot powder and um, vinegar, baking soda. I just, not that, baking powder is fine, but it's not good for you in large amounts. So if you're doing a
Right.
lot of that, it's bad for you. I use honey instead of sugar.
Yeah.
So it's, I never imagined myself being able to do something like that. And it
Yeah. It's
actually
funny you
happened very quickly. Go ahead.
it's funny you bring that up because when you start getting into the midst of cooking, and then all of a sudden you're like making this now more often than not, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Why am I putting this in here? I could be using something else. And that's where the simplicity comes in of now you're just starting to substitute and you don't even realize you're doing it until, you're just sitting at the table one day and you're like, oh my gosh, pat on the back. I actually did a positive substitute with this. And then you
Hmm.
realize I'm actually cooking. So,
Yeah.
um, it's scary, but once you
And
get
it,
into it, I tell you.
and it works in so many different ways too.
Hmm.
Something we're all trying to eat healthier and get more nutrition in this world of, nutrition devoid food that
Hmm.
we're just immersed in. Even something as simple when I make my own taco seasoning now. And when I'm making that, I throw in ground flax. It
Yeah.
doesn't alter the flavor at all, but it adds so
Hmm.
much nutrition to it. And it's
Nutrients.
just
Yeah,
something
we
I
do
never
that
would have
too.
thought before, but it just popped in my mind one day. And as you get on this journey, that's what you'll find. You'll feel so overwhelmed in the beginning, and then
Hmm.
things will just start
Making
coming to
sense.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just still kind of boggles my mind. And I grew up kind of like in the microwave-ish generation where my mom my parents both worked and she never had the time. So it was always TV dinners or
Mhm.
something that she just cooked in the oven or something she threw in the crock pot. And then here my husband, he came from another country. He never cooked. Obviously in the Middle East, his mom would always cook. And then all of a sudden, when he was out of work, because we were waiting for him to get his green card, he just started cooking. And then all of a sudden, he started whipping up these South Asian dishes. And I'm like, oh my God, I really cannot cook. But then
Mhm.
after a year or two, because it was so intimidating, and he's like, just learn. Really, just learn. It takes nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me? You have like 60 spices on this counter and you're just throwing stuff in. And I'm like, what are you doing? I finally took it upon myself to start cooking. Now, do I like cooking? No, because I like his the best. But I do cook more than I ever used to before. We have my kids haven't seen fat. My three littles don't even know what fast food is. My
That's
two
awesome.
middle ones, we used to do fast food all the time when he first got here. And we just realized that we were really feeling like crap. So all of these things that we have started changing and implementing with what you brought into this conversation is all about also acting with intention. Even if you don't realize it, switching out something that is bad for you and swapping something in that does better for your health is an intention. And that
Mhm.
these are the things that we need to do for our creator. That's why we were put here. We were put here to act with intention, doing things with intention. So knowing that something is not good and being able to swap, or, doing the laundry because it's a chore. We don't want to do the laundry. But when you change it around and you're like, okay, I'm going to do the laundry today. It's going to make me feel good. It's going to
Mhm.
smell nice. It comes out warm. It feels good. When you put these thoughts into your head, these are intentions that you're doing because you're doing it not only for yourself because it has to get done, but you're doing it for your kids and it's comfort for them
It's a
also. Like
service,
it
and
is. It
that
really
feels
is.
good. And when
Yes.
you really go to the root of that, it's a service
Mhm.
to your children. It's a service to your husband.
Mhm.
And that in itself is a service to our creator.
Mhm.
It's we're taking care of the family unit. What that's what women do. That's what we do
Yeah.
as mothers.
And not as an
Um
expectation. Some people are going to look at this and think, well,
mm,
that's your culture. You feel like you have to do things for, your spouse because that's what you were taught to do. And no, actually, that's not what you were taught to do. It's not
it's not
because you
what we were
have to
taught to
do it for
do.
your spouse. You're doing it out of love for your spouse, and it makes you
Mhm.
feel good and it makes them feel good. It's all about intention. Not, I don't have to do anything for my spouse if I don't want to.
Mhm.
Even when I'm mad at him, I don't want to do anything for him. He can go kick rocks for all I care. You know what I'm saying? But I still do it because I'm his wife, and I would hope that he would
Yes.
do the same for me if I was in whatever situation that, I would be in that moment. So
Mhm.
that's what it all comes down to. That's what we're all about. We're all about bringing that the way of living deep in our roots for how we were intended to live, to make it more enjoyable, not just like
Mhm.
chores, you know, and it's amazing how you feel once these things happen. Now, I'm not perfect and I know you're not perfect because I'm still
No way.
mom and I still have 5 girls at home that I'm raising. So, yeah, I don't need to say any more than that, but with everything else that you are learning to do with intention makes life easier on you
Mhm.
and everybody else. So
It
I'm
does.
excited to start this journey.
I am too. And I just real quick, I want to touch back when you brought up the microwave. I want to touch
Hmm.
back on that. I have always I have always despised the microwave. I used it, but
Yeah.
I just knew it was I hate I hate to use the word evil, but
Oh, it's
evil.
evil.
And when you and I reconnected and you found out I mentioned something about the microwave, you
Oh, I
were
thought you were nuts.
yes. You were so surprised that I had a microwave, and after you said that, I was so surprised that I had a microwave. It just
Yeah, and it
never
was out on
even
your
dawned
porch, and the
on
next
me.
week
It was. It was, and it's now what,
that's funny.
been it's been a long time that
Yeah.
since we've used it. It's in the garage right now, and
And that's what
we'll
made you start cooking. I remember I was talking to
yes.
you that one day and you said, "Well, I'm kind of stressed out. I don't know if we should meet tonight because, I just," and I said, "Well, what's going on?" And you said, "Well, I'm cooking, but then I don't have the ingredients for this, and then I'm doing that." And then I remember looking at you and I said, "Maggie, did you throw away your microwave?" And it was so emotional for me. I almost literally started crying.
Oh,
I really don't like
yeah.
microwaves. They scare the heck out
Nor
of
do
me.
I.
So, yeah,
Nor
that
do
was
I.
that was
But
funny.
if I were to give any advice right now, it would be
Mhm.
to get rid of your microwaves. It's so it seems so daunting. It can, you know. You don't need it. It's not doing anything for you. It's killing any kind of nutrition that's in the food you
It
put
really
into
does kill
it.
your nutrition.
And it's sending out, you know, waves of destruction.
Yeah.
Waves of destruction. Just get
Try
rid of
telling
them.
that to a mother with kids. Get rid of your microwave, but how do you heat up the milk? And first of all, you're not supposed to heat up milk. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, get rid of
Yeah.
your microwaves. Get
do
rid
it
of your
do it all on the
microwaves
stovetop.
and let us know that you got rid of your microwaves by joining us
Yes.
on our Facebook page at Womenfolk Revival. We would love to have you in our community.
Yes, we
I'm
would.
just going to ask a few questions. It'll prompt you to answer a few questions and join. We are going to have some information up there for you to see, and you will see on our Facebook page the microwave discussion. Let's get into it. Cross over from here to Facebook and have that microwave discussion. I want to hear from you. Do you still use a microwave? Do you depend on your microwave? Who doesn't have a microwave and who does? I want to do a poll.
Yeah,
I would love to, touch base next week and see who has what and who's doing what. So,
I like
as
it.
we wrap up today's episode, we would like to invite you back next week because we're going to be diving into something that is really close to us. And that is why simple living matters, especially
Mhm.
for us as mothers. And again, we don't want this to be a one-sided conversation. So if you join us on Facebook, we will continue these conversations and share encouragement and wisdom and learn from each other. So we would love for you to come be a part of it because your voice matters. You will find us here each week on Wednesday at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. And we look forward to seeing you next week. So until then, remember,
Stay rooted, stay wild.
stay wild.
Mm.